Oh, nice, nice, nice. Yes. Nice. Okay, we're friends now. We
This
can be
one is
friends.
scripted. What is happening, man, with Purpose listeners? It's your boy Pav, and today I have a very, very special guest. He is no other than the CEO of Alpha Shredding, Mr. Aaron Darko.
Hey, Pav. Nice to meet you. Thank you for bringing me on the show.
Likewise, thank you very much for being here, sir. So, how we met was very funny, actually. We were
Yeah.
both of us are in Chiang Mai. You were coming here for just a little bit, and then we have a mutual friend that we kind of sat together and we did quite a lot of vibing together. And I was like, hey, man, you know what? We should do an interview together. So really appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy man. Let's maybe start from the beginning. For I kind of know your story. I've done the due diligence and the research. But for the people that don't know who you are and how you became who you are today, tell us maybe a little bit about that. I know you grew up
Yeah.
in Southwest London. Maybe let's start from there.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just a guy with a burning desire to not be average, you know. So it started 8 years ago. I was in London and I literally got dumped by my ex-girlfriend at university. And I also quit university after my second year. And the reason I quit was because I saw an internet marketing event and I saw these guys on stage and they were making all this money and they were dressed in a t-shirt and they were talking about how they travel the world with their family and, you know, they make money on their laptop. But until that point, all I saw was, you know, I had work experience with my dad's friend who was a lawyer. And I thought that that would be my life, that I'd be working for 40 hours a week for 40 years of my life. And I realized that after going to this event, that wasn't the case. There was something else out there for me. And so from there, I just decided that I'm going to be pursuing this. And then I instantly dropped out of university. And then my ex-girlfriend dumped me. I moved back in with my parents. And I had a dilemma. I was like, okay, do I get a full-time job? Or do I just, you know, stay broke and try and figure this internet thing out? And so I did the latter. And it took me a lot of trial and tribulations. I ended up going on welfare for 4 months. And it was just a really bad time, right? It's like things get worse before they get better. And that's definitely what happened to me. It sucked. I was literally eating noodles, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was ridiculous. I was so poor. But it had to happen like that because that's where you get all the hunger from, right? So the desire to succeed was huge because I was failing so much. And then I started making money with my blog, started getting around people that were making money. And then I went to an event where I met my mentor who invited me to Thailand. And then I started working for him. And then that's how I ended up in Thailand. I didn't even know where this place was on the map at that point. So I ended up in Thailand and started working for him. We worked on some projects in the internet marketing space. He taught me everything I know about marketing, which was really good because before then I had a fear, right? So I was working a job. I used to sell women's shoes, you know, like in the H&M equivalent in the UK. And I had a fear of, you know, if I don't have a job, if I'm not working for someone, then how can I actually make money? And the fear stemmed from a lack of skills, right? So I didn't know how to make money for myself in terms of marketing. I didn't know how to market. So therefore I had a fear of if I don't get paid from this job, I'm not going to ever be able to make money, right? And I think a lot of people have fears like that, and probably we'll talk about that later. So yeah, after 6 years of doing that, I kind of got tired of it, you know, like kind of got burnt out because I was making money, but you know, the people weren't really, you know, doing what I was telling them to do. And it wasn't really fitting with my personality. So what I decided to do at the time of recording this 2 years ago, I made a pivot. I made a pivot into the health and fitness space because I just decided, and this is part of the reason why I'm here right now, is I was talking with my mentor and he said, don't be afraid to be the man you were born to be. In other words, don't be afraid to do the things that you really want to do with your life. And at that point, I had made enough money, so I was really comfortable. And that was part of the problem, right? I was really comfortable. But it also allowed me to be able to think about what I actually wanted to do in my life and what my passions were and how I can, you know, fuse the passions with what I'm good at to create business. And so coupled with the fact that my friend came out and worked out with me, because before that, I didn't even work out consistently. I was just that guy that was just, you know, doing a few push-ups here and there, but nothing consistent, right? Because I didn't have anyone in my social circle that was, you know, ahead of me in terms of body composition. Like no one in my social circle worked out consistently. Therefore, I didn't. right? You're the subtotal of the 5 closest friends around you.
Power of proximity.
Yeah, exactly. So when my friend came, he's been working out all of his life, and he's jacked, ripped, you know, very successful. He's basically had everything that I didn't have. So he had the great body, you know, he would walk in a room and you'd notice that he came in a room, right? And he was
type of
funny.
presence.
Yeah, he had presence, you know, funny. Everyone loved him. All the ladies loved him. And it was just, he had like the power that I didn't have. It was like he was living his best life. And when I saw that, it's like, I wrote about this the other day. So when you see someone who's living out your dreams, it makes you feel like shit. And it makes you realize how much you're settling in life. So even though he didn't actually tell me anything about this, just from his presence, it made me feel like less of a man. That was what sparked me to start working out. I mean, he dragged me into the gym, but just seeing him and seeing how people interacted with him, for example, people would open the door for him and, you know, treat him differently just because of his presence, right? And that part of that is because of how he looked, his physical appearance. And I just wanted that. I just wanted that power that he had. So that was what prompted me to start working out with him. And he started teaching me his ways and how he was doing it and stuff like that. And I followed it and I started getting results for myself. Then I started posting the pictures on Facebook, and all my friends who knew me before, they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe my transformation. And so they were starting asking me for tips. They were hitting me up for tips and all these kind of things. And I've always been interested in fitness, but I've never really had the body to back it up. So this was a chance for me to actually become the expert that I always wanted to be subconsciously. It was really cool because, you know, it prompted me to start diving deeper into fitness and actually researching more of the science behind, you know, different muscle groups and different workouts, different muscle fiber types, genetics, all these kind of things, all the details in the fitness industry that I didn't even know. I thought it was just go to the gym, lift heavy weights, and then you're going to get big. But like
Meathead.
it's much more complex than that as you dive into it. And so, yeah, I just became an expert on fitness over the last couple of years, and I've helped like thousands of clients get shredded. So it's been a really cool experience, and yeah, that's basically how I got here.
Wow. What a story, guys. I mean, I actually didn't know some of the things that you said, but I've also went to London. I also like dropped out of university in Bulgaria. So a lot of commonalities, eating these Asda noodles for 21p, like for like 3 weeks straight to like just rise in salt. So I can relate to a lot of that. Just to backtrack a little bit, tell me like, what were you like as a kid? Because I know you played soccer or football as it's known in Europe.
Yes.
Was that like a passion of yours? Because I know afterwards you went with a friend of yours in the gym and you started working out, and then he kind of noticed your results a little bit, and really that kind of sparked everything. Or how exactly did that happen?
Yeah. So I love football. That's like one of my passions. By the way, I support Manchester United. What about you?
Absolutely, a bit of the Bulgarian guys.
Oh, nice. Yes. Nice. Okay, we're friends now. We can be friends. So yeah, I love football, and but I realized early on. I mean, I had a crossroads where I was 18 years old and I didn't know how to drive. But in England, where I lived, we lived in like the suburbs, right? So all the football matches are quite far away, and at that level that I was playing at, there wasn't any minibus. So the players had to get to the venue themselves, and I didn't have a car. And I couldn't drive. So it was either that I hitch a ride from someone, or I just, don't go. So I decided not to go because it was so far. And I decided instead of pursuing the career in football, I decided to just get a job, work, save money so I can pay for driving lessons, and then eventually get a car. Wow. And so I never got a car, but I just rented my dad's one. But I passed my driving test and saved up. So I chose consciously to make money instead of pursuing a career in football. And I wasn't that good. I was good. I was the captain of my team at college and stuff like that. But I just ultimately decided that I didn't want a glorified job, because after seeing that event, after going to that event, I realized that I could actually do internet marketing and have that be a career. And I mean, as great as football is, you're still an employee of someone else, right? You have to be told you can't go to the park and play football with your friends. You're on a strict schedule, right? So I didn't want that. I wanted a life of freedom. So, and your question was, what did he see in me in the gym?
Yeah. So basically, I know that going back to kind of how the story of the origins of alpha shredding and you getting in shape, how did that happen? Like you said, a friend of yours, or I've seen in other interviews, a friend of yours noticed you in the gym. You went worked out, and then he showed everybody, hey, Aaron is actually getting some results.
That was actually when I first started working out.
Okay, yeah.
So when I was in university, so that was when I first started working out for just 3 months. Literally the first semester, and we wanted to get really big, and so one of our friends, he just took us in the gym and just trained us, and he started noticing my results because I took it really seriously. I was reading all the magazines, I was doing the whole thing, like all these different workouts, but you know, when you first start working out, that's when you see the most gains. So it wasn't because I was doing anything cool, it was just because I was working out for the first time in my fucking life, right? Yeah. So I mean, looking back at it now, it's funny because obviously I got all this knowledge, and it was just newbie gains, right? So of course, I was getting big, but after that, I'd lost all my gains because I went to summer camp in America, and I just got really, really skinny, did lots of cardio, and then I came back, and he wasn't there anymore, so I didn't have any mentors. And so I didn't have any reason to do it because I didn't look inside myself for a reason. I was looking outside of myself. So I was like, if he's not there, then I'm not going to go to the gym, right? Yeah. Why would I go to the gym if he's not there? Yeah. And that's what a lot of people that I see in fitness when it comes to getting in better shape, they have that mindset. That's why they fail, because they look outside of themselves for the motivation, and they leave it up to other people to motivate them. That's why, I mean, we get into this later because I can talk for hours on this, but that's why people believe that they need an in-person trainer, right? Because an in-person trainer is going to make sure that you're there on time. But, I mean, if you need someone to make sure you're there on time, then you have bigger issues, right? It's like you need to be able to self-start and motivate yourself. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing online, because it's about teaching you the habits that you can sustain for life, not just for 6 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, yeah, definitely. Let's talk about that as well. I know you touched upon a few things which I wanted to actually address as well. You're saying mentors a lot. And I'm a big believer that, you need to, connect with people who have either been there, fought the battles, been through the tough times. Tell me a little bit about your experience with your mentor who basically you got introduced to online marketing. You went to the event. How did this happen in the first place?
This is a funny story. So I'm sitting in my studio in my house in England, and my dad's in the other room, and he's watching this webinar, and we're about to go to the barbershop and we're late, right? And I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Come on, let's go. And he's sitting there watching this webinar. I'm like, oh no, not another one. Like shiny object syndrome. You're just buying all this stuff. I was like, oh no, please don't spend any money on this. And so I start watching the webinar, and I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. It was some, what's it called? Some software. I forgot the name of it, but it was really cool, right? The way it worked and stuff. Like you could set up pages in like 2 minutes or whatever. I was like, Dad, why are you watching this? And I started watching it. And I was like, oh, damn. So I started watching it. So there we are sitting down watching this webinar when we're supposed to be leaving to go to the barbershop. The next day, I'll go onto my Facebook, and there's this guy who was promoting events at the time in England. And he said that the guy that I was watching on the webinar is going to be in London next week. And so I was like, oh, wow, I definitely have to go to this. Because at this point, I was literally staying up till 3 a.m. trying to figure out internet marketing. And I was making a little bit of money, but I wasn't making, life-changing money or even money to live sustainably in London. So I went to this event, and that's where I saw the guy on the webinar who was my mentor. I didn't notice at the time. I just went there to connect with him, right? It's like the late Steve Jobs says, you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect them going back, right? Yeah. So looking back now, that was a really good decision because that led me to Thailand. I didn't know that was going to happen. I just took the opportunity. And it was funny because I took the train from where I lived to central London, where the event was, and I only had £5 in my pocket. after paying for the train ticket, which is about $7 or $8. That's all I had. It's really interesting, but you got to take the risks. And if you don't take the risks, you never know what's going to happen, right? So after that, that's where I had the opportunity to come out to Thailand. And that was the best thing, because if I didn't do that, I don't know where I'd be right now, because that was what I needed at that time. I needed to just learn from someone, not get paid anything. I was literally just getting paid enough to live in Thailand. Food, shelter, the basics, but no salary, nothing like that. It was literally, you're just getting paid for your rent and your food. That's it. And then you work for me. I was like, cool, I'm down with that. I mean, I'm in Thailand, no worries, right? All you need is that. You need shelter and you need food. You got some clothes on your back, you're fine, exactly, right? That's it.
And so, how old at the time?
I was 21.
Wow.
20 or 21, yes, 21. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so it's like a really rites of passage of you leaving the family behind and just going on your own way, trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
How did you because I know you said you went to the actual event that was happening in London, but how did you connect specifically to the guy? Did you do something? I don't know. To connect with him personally, because there's a lot of people there. Everybody wants their attention, etc., etc.
See, that's the thing about internet marketing conferences. So especially when you're new. So this guy was new, right? So he rarely. I think it was his first time speaking on stage. So no one knew who he was before. He wasn't that famous in the marketplace. So I always approach them before they speak. So before they speak, no one's around them because no one knows who they are. But I did, because I was watching a webinar. And so I just approached him, and that was probably what stuck out in his mind, because there he is, he's from America, but he's in the UK for the first time, and he's at this event for the first time, and no one's approaching him. And then I approach him, and he must have been quite surprised by that. So actually looking back at it now, that's probably what stuck out a lot to him, made me stand out. And after he spoke, of course, everyone surrounded him, and it was hard to talk to him at that point. But I'd already planted my seed. I already spoke to him. And so he remembered me, especially because I'm black. That's another thing. It's like, because I'm black, right? Sometimes it gets me, it helps me more in social settings, because I'm using it to my advantage, exactly. So yeah, it's just approaching people and not being scared, and not being, just don't be scared. If your dreams are greater than your fears, then you'll do it. Right?
Yes.
Like whatever you want, if it's greater than the fear that you feel, you're going to take the actions. And that's like anything in life.
Yeah, don't be scared, homie. Would you say that this was probably one of the most life-changing decisions you've ever made? Like, you stepped up, you took the train, went all the way down to central London to meet this random dude that you've seen on a webinar once. Yeah. That's like life-changing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stories that have happened. Oh, it's plain. There's a lot of stories that have happened. So, for example, that was one of them. But then another one was where I cold called this kid from England, and I went on his blog because I saw him on a video, like a famous marketer's video, and he was 18 years old and he was making 6 figures, and I looked at that kid and I was like, that kid's making 6 figures? Are you fucking kidding me? And so I went on his website, right, and I saw a number on there, so I was like, fuck this, I'm calling him.
Wow.
I called him, and his dad picked up the phone, and then I said, is Michael there? And then he put Michael on the phone, and him and I spoke for an hour. It's from a cold call. We spoke for an hour, because I also had a blog, and he had a blog, right, at the time. And so, yeah, we became like really good friends. I hung out with him, and that's how I actually started first making money on the internet. Is my relationship with him, my proximity to him, looking at what he did and how he was doing it, helped me make money on the internet for the first time with like affiliate marketing, And then from there, he invited me. I didn't even know this, but he invited me to one of the biggest events in internet marketing, which is this event called the Underground Online Seminar. I was one of the young scholarship winners at that event. Wow. At that time, I was on welfare. I was making money, but I was still on welfare because, the money I was making wasn't enough. But yeah, that's another story for another day, and how I got there. And I asked my parents for money, and they depleted their savings to send me to America to that event. And then a couple months later, I met my mentor, and then I went to Thailand. But it was just a whirlwind of a year, 8 years ago.
Wow.
And yeah, the same year I made the most money I've ever made in my life. So that whole year was just an amazing year, right? But the thing is, before I went to Thailand, I remember talking with one of my friends, and she said, "Why are you going to Thailand? Look, why are you going? You know, there's nothing there for you." And I was saying, you don't even know like how much I want this. Like I would literally stay up until 2, 3 a.m. just trying to figure out how to make money online. I would literally fall asleep at my desk. And that's the kind of obsession that you need, right? In anything you do to succeed, you need to be obsessed. And at that point, there's no such thing as balance, because that's all you care about is that one thing. So that's what, when I see people nowadays and they're obsessed about one thing, I actually encourage it, because that's what it takes to succeed. You can't dip your finger in different pies and expect to succeed at all of them. You need to just go all in on one thing, and then once you master that, you can go to the next thing.
Sure. Okay. Wow, that's a beautiful story, dude. Seriously. Talk to me a little bit about, the burning desire that you had about being obsessed and really working super hard, laser focused on one thing. When did this came about? Was this happen when you went on welfare? Did that kind of spark everything for you to start making money and kind of become your own man, or?
Yeah, so this started around about 9 years ago. So the way I got my start in all of this was I think I stumbled across, I got scammed, that was it. So I got scammed. I remember that this was the catalyst for everything. So, those Google ads, you'll be on a website, and then on the right-hand side, it's like, this mama made like $9,000 in 30 days. Click here to see how you can too. So I clicked on one of those stupid ads, right? And they are stupid. Like, really, seriously, don't click on those fucking things. Sorry for swearing. And so I clicked on it, right? And then it was $7 for this free CD or something. And so I was like, it's only $7. I remember at the time I was at university with my ex-girlfriend, and I was sitting on the bed with her, and I said to her, look, this is an opportunity. She's like, be careful, but it looks good. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. I got the approval of my ex-girlfriend, so let's do it. So I put in my details. The small print, it was $197 a month, but it was $7, right, to start. But then after 7 days, it rebilled at $197. And then after that, the next 30 days, it rebilled at $197. So there's me. I just bought it. I was like, I only paid like £5, whatever. Who cares? Then next 7 days, I checked my account. I was a student, right? I had no money, right? And then I checked it, and I was like, what the fuck? What the? I was like, no, it's back to noodles again. Dude. And so I was super, super angry. I started trying to find a number to call. I called a number, but it was a dead line. There was no answer. I also emailed their support, no reply. And to make it even worse, the next 30 days, I checked my account and it was minus because they took out another $197. And so that was what prompted me to get started in internet marketing, because I got scammed and I was so pissed and so angry from that moment that I decided, look, I need to figure out not how they're doing it, because obviously I don't want to do that to other people, but I need to be on the other side. I need to be providing value and making money that way, right? So I was like, how are they doing that? Not to scam people, obviously not, but to actually provide value and help people, but be on the other side of it, right? So have people be indebted to me rather than me being indebted to people, right? From there, I just dove into all the personal development. Wow. Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar. Man, I just started absorbing all that stuff, and it was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. Like, I don't know how I lived that long without that kind of information. And I realized how important it is for, anyone who's out there who has children. It's so important to, if you don't have kids right now, especially if you don't have kids right now, you need to start diving into all that kind of stuff, because when you have children, I've seen it with some of my friends. If you have these successful principles, success mindsets, when you have kids, your kids are going to be absolutely freaking outstanding. Next level. But one of my friends, Unstoppable Family, their kids, Rhonda and Brian, their kid, Hanale, she's 11 years old and she has her own business. Because of that, because of her parents have been successful entrepreneurs for so long, like decades, and they've instilled that success mindset in their children, in Hanale, and she's super successful now because of that, right? So
11 years old.
11 years old. She's doing public speaking in front of thousands of people.
Wow.
I look at that and I'm so inspired by that because that's the power of applied knowledge, right? When you apply the success principles, the success ideologies, and looking at things with different through a different lens, right? For example, one of the best quotes I've ever heard in my entire life is from Zig Ziglar. You can get anything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And when I heard that, it's so simple, but it's so true, right? If you just help other people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. And that's it. That's life. That's it.
Wow. Okay, I can resonate a lot because every single time I meet someone, I consciously make a decision to give as much value as possible, even though it doesn't have to be reciprocated at one point or straight away, or even don't even ask for anything. Just provide value, see how you can help this person, and inevitably, somehow, I'm not sure, the universe or whatever you want to call it, comes back to you. That's wow, spot on, man.
Yeah.
How did you discover personal development in the first place? What was the spark for that?
I don't know. I think I was just searching for how to be successful on YouTube, I believe. I was just searching around, and then I stumbled across some videos. Tony Robbins was actually the first person. And from there, I actually stumbled across one of his interviews. Oh, no, that's right. It was one of the marketers was talking about Tony Robbins. And so I was like, oh, this guy sounds interesting. That's where I got into the personal development. That was the in. And from there, I just started, for example, I would go on the train, on the subway, or whatever you want to call it. I would go into central London to do work experience, or just travel in there to do some shopping or whatever, with the money I didn't have. Yeah. And I would listen to his audio, his free audio downloads on the way there. Instead of listening to music, I would just fill my head with, interviews that he did with marketers and stuff like that, just to trying to adopt his mindset. And one of the things he always says is success leaves clues. So whoever's successful, you need to get in proximity with them, because proximity is power, as you know, right? I mean, we all know these things, but
Absolutely,
it's not common knowledge to most people. It wasn't to me, right, at the time. So proximity is power. So whatever you want, you need to get around it frequently. For example, that's how I got into shape, because the guy was around me frequently. And I didn't know that getting in shape would have transformed my life the way it did. I didn't know that at the time. All I knew was I just wanted to, feel better, right? And that was my motivation. It was just like, oh, I might as well learn from this guy because he's teaching me, and it's a great way to connect with him on a deeper level and also just feel better. And like I said earlier, I wanted his power, right? So that's why I did it. But yeah, proximity is power. Success leaves clues. How you do anything is how you do everything. All of these little quotes that I started implementing into my life, right? So I started living differently from that point. So I started taking different actions, like act as if, like I saw myself as successful before I even was. So things like that, as I started associating less with my friends who didn't have any dreams or goals. Things like that is, I started auditing my social circle, and my social circle became audios and podcasts. Well, not podcasts because they weren't back then, but just audios and interviews from successful people. That was my social circle back then. And it really formed my mindset, which set me up for everything that was to come the following year, which is when I met, my mentor, and that was the catalyst, was my friend coming to train me. I started getting in shape, and all of a sudden the epiphany hit me. It's like, oh, fitness. I can help people through fitness. Wow. All right, and that was it. And also with fitness, right? It's one of the things that's going to stay constant for the rest of our lives. And one of the things I realized was, as we age, our health deteriorates, generally speaking, right? If we don't use it, we lose it, right? If we don't use our body, we lose the range of motion, and we get stiff and decrepit. And that's why people at 70 years old have hip replacements, because they don't move their body. Wow. And so I was thinking about my career path and what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I was thinking fitness is going to be constant throughout my whole life. And I will have to start taking my health more seriously as I age. So why not make that my business? Because that's also one of my interests in life. Like, for example, if I'm not working, I'm studying about fitness. I'm studying about, the body and stuff like that. And so it just made sense. It was like a perfect match, right? It's great. I can talk about fitness all day long until I'm blue in the face, right? So it's a great match for me. So that's why I chose fitness, and I love it, man. It's amazing, man. It's amazing to see how many influential people that I looked up to before are now hitting me up for my tips on how I'm getting in shape.
Wow.
Because everyone wants a better body, every single person. And it's about portraying the lifestyle that a better body can give you, right? It's not just about getting a six-pack. No one cares about a six-pack. But it's what that can give you. It can give you the confidence. It can give you the energy. It can give you the lifestyle, the friends, the powerful people. You can attract more quality people in your life, because whatever anyone says, a really good body is a business card. It's like you're advertising yourself just from your body, right? As soon as you walk into a room. I remember I was at this conference a few months ago in San Diego, and I instantly noticed this one guy. He was sitting in the back. He was well-groomed, and he was in shape. And I instantly noticed him because, again, he was well-groomed, in shape, dressed well, and he just stood out because a lot of people, most people are not in physically good condition, right?
Sure.
And you notice it, especially in America, because obviously I don't live in America, but in America it's really easy to stand out in terms of your physical body because a lot of people are overweight. And there may be a lot of Americans watching this, and it's an epidemic out there. So another reason why I wanted to get into fitness is because I wanted to be one of the quote-unquote good guys, right? I wanted to help people, and it's still, it's never ending. So at the time of recording this, it's never ending. The business is going to grow. But it's helping people instill the healthy habits, because it's not just about that person. It's not just about this 30-year-old guy that I'm helping. It's about instilling the habits in him so he can go ahead and teach his kids. And then his kids teach their kids. And it's a knock-on effect. It's a ripple effect. And it's super important because I was in America, and it's funny because that was the first time I've been in America since I started this brand. So your reticular activator system notices, right? It notices all the overweight people, whereas before I didn't. But when I was in America last time, I just noticed it all. And I noticed little kids, 7, 8 years old, really obese. And it doesn't have to be like that. And the reason why it's like that, obviously, is because of the culture, whatever, like the multinational companies selling sugary breakfasts and all that kind of stuff. It starts with the parents. And so if I help the parents, then they will help their children. And that's the goal, is to figure out and help the parents get the healthy habits that they need to instill in their children, because it's about helping humanity at the end of the day. It's about helping your fellow man become better.
Wow. All of that, like the last bits you said, like everything what you said is like amazing, great. I really love people who have this kind of this altruistic view on the world and really want to give, and it's coming from a point of giving from your overflow whenever your cup is full. Yeah, that's why we started Man with Purpose in the first place. The idea is to elevate human consciousness through inspiring content. So I can totally relate with that. And wow. Tell me a little bit about the first few days or first few months, if you will, of alpha shredding. Because you're doing the transition, you're doing a big leap. Yes, you were comfortable, you kind of needed something else. But I'm sure at the very beginning, like every other businesses, it's like power versus force. At the beginning, everything is kind of, you have to really push everything, and everything is like force. Like you have to open doors, you have to go and chase people and meet people, all these kind of things. Versus afterwards, people come to you, so you're coming from a point of power. What was those first few months like? Yeah,
so it was a steep learning curve because, for the years.
A little bit, because I think that.
Okay.
I feel that the sunlight.
Oh, okay. For the years prior, I wasn't really actively doing marketing, right? Like we'd basically do joint venture marketing, which is like hitting up your friends. They'll mail their list to your product, stuff like that. So with the alpha trading, I just decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just rely on myself. So I had to learn Facebook marketing, advertising on Facebook. That was a huge learning curve for me. That was that was probably the biggest learning curve, was learning how to advertise on Facebook. Because before that, I was just doing, affiliate marketing and stuff like that. The first few months, I definitely wanted to give up a few times. You know, I've lost count the amount of times I wanted to give up alpha trading. I mean, it's funny because a lot of people who are successful say the same thing, right? It's like they have these moments where they doubt themselves, and it's so easy to doubt yourself a lot. The way I got out of that was just to keep moving, just keep doing things, right? Because there's no alternative. I made it so there was no alternative. Like I didn't have a plan B. This was it. This is alpha trading has to work because I don't have anything else in the plans, right? Like this is it. So that's what I advise people to do, is just have a plan A and just work plan A. Because if you have a plan B, you're not going to give plan A 100%, are you? Because you're like, oh, if this doesn't work, then I can do this. Well, that's a failures mindset. You're going to lose if you do that. You know, and you've probably done that before and you probably lost, right? So don't do that again. There was challenges and stuff like that, but you know, you just overcome them, and that's the mark of a good entrepreneur, is overcoming challenges as they come up. Marketing the business, that was going well, and one of the things is, there's a book called An Audience of One. I forgot the author's name. It talks about a concept that I'm really fond of, which is just putting your head down and focusing on you. So a lot of people, they like to put their head up and focus on all their competitors. But when you do that, for me, for example, if I look at all my competitors and stop focusing on what I'm doing, then that's when I start doubting myself. That's when the fear starts creeping in. Oh my God, he's got so many more subscribers and followers, and his business is bigger than mine. It doesn't matter. All that matters is what you're doing, right? So it's kind of like what I said earlier about the finger. It's like all that matters is you, right? It's not about external things. You can't control what that guy's doing. All you can control is what you're doing. So focus on where you want to go and just stay in your lane and just focus.
Wow. Yeah, I'm guilty of doing that as well. Like trying to figure out, okay, what are people doing, and then that gets me a little bit out of balance, and then you start doubting yourself, and all the kind of the little voice next to your shoulder starts creeping in, and it leads to all sorts of bad things. So yeah, focus and get some earplugs or something, and just focus on one thing.
Yeah, because everyone starts somewhere, right? Like we all start somewhere, and our competitors, let's say we're just starting out in a space. Our competitors are on chapter 35 or whatever, right? We're on chapter 1. So, of course, you're going to look at them and you're going to be like, oh, my God, man, oh, my God. But I look at that to get inspiration of where I'm going, right? And I don't want to just copy them, because that's just not how I am. I believe in the marketplace, there's two types of people. There's the innovators and there's everyone else, right? So you got the people that actually push the envelope and innovate and create new things. And then you got everyone else who just copies. In business, copying's fine, right? It's allowed. But I'm just not the copier. And one of the things is, I've made friends with a few people who are really good copiers. And like I was saying earlier about the 5 closest friends, at some points I've allowed them to, you know, influence my mindset. And then I start thinking, oh yeah, I need to do that like him. That's not how I roll. That's not how I've succeeded in business so far. Is I've always pushed the envelope and always done things that people copy. Not the other way around. So I'm the innovator. So I'm doing the things that I want to do, and then people copy me, right? And so, yeah, you got to figure out which one you are, and you got to figure out your strengths. Like, what are you good at? Another thing is, people like to outsource too early. So before you've actually figured out how this thing works, you can't outsource it. Like, you need to do it yourself first before you outsource it. For example, a lot of people in marketing space, they want to outsource their Facebook ads, right? But they don't actually know how to do Facebook ads themselves. And maybe they know the concept of it, but they don't actually know how to do it. So therefore, if they're paying someone else to do it, how do you know that that person's not scamming you? Because you don't know how it works, right? So the successful business owner knows all aspects of the business. I think Jeff Bezos said that, or Bill Gates, someone. Like, you have to know every single aspect of your business. Before you can outsource it, you need to do all the things. If you can't program, of course, I'm not going to program, but I know, like, for example, how long it takes to do X, Y, Z. You know, I know what he needs to do, the concepts of it. I know the overview. I don't know how to code, but I know how long this should take, because based on my experience from doing it, you know, from actually hiring guys that do it, I know this is how long it takes. So if it takes 1 month to do something that takes 2 days, I know the guy's scamming me, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I can relate. not to be taking out of your thunder here, but I used to pay a guy when I was working in Disney to build my SEO site and really rank it. What's supposed to happen like 2 weeks took like 2.5 months. All of my savings, 2.5 grand, like just paying this guy. He sends me all these reports. So yeah, don't outsource super early. Like big mistake. Yeah. Okay, so you're kind of trying to figure out, you having these kind of mental battles inside your head, whether you should quit, whether you should continue. Fast forward, right now when you kind of you are in the position where you are right now? What are some common misbeliefs or like really, I won't call scams, but things which aren't true, but like universally applied by people, something that maybe you have seen to say, okay, I've actually tried this. This is a big misconception that it doesn't work. What are like maybe 2 or 3 in the fitness industry specifically?
Oh, you're talking about like the people, the myths that people follow.
Yes.
Okay, so so now we're getting into like the how, right?
Yes.
Which is pretty interesting, because yeah, that's what I talk about, the how when people buy my stuff. So that's another thing that I was doing before, is I was, doing workout videos and stuff like that, but everyone else is doing that. But anyway, to get to your question, that's another topic, right?
We'll talk about that.
The myths. So one thing is, people think that lifting light weights for high reps is the way that you get ripped. That's a myth, right? That's not true at all right? There's no reason for your body, your muscles to stay there if you're doing that, all right? Like, I don't know anyone who's ripped who lifts light weights for high reps, okay? Like, there is muscle fatigue, right? So muscle fatigue happens, and all these kind of things that people believe. For example, I used to believe that you have to push really hard, like go to failure every single workout in order to get in shape. But there's different ways of training, right? So you can train for strength, you can train for hypertrophy, okay? You can train for all these kind of different forms of growth, right? All these different trainings. So another myth is people just don't believe that they can do it, right? That's not a myth, but people just don't believe that they can do it, right? So you're going to the gym, but really deep down here, you don't believe that you can do it, right? You're going to the gym, you're working out, but even if you consciously admit that you do believe you can get in shape, a lot of people don't believe it at their core. They're like, oh, I hope this works. That mindset of I hope this works, that means that you subconsciously don't believe that you can get the body you want, right? So it's not so much a myth, but that's a mindset that people have, which leads them to taking less action, to getting less results, to enforcing their belief, oh, this doesn't work, so I'm not even going to do it. And then boom, downward spiral, right? Another myth is people think that they need to do lots of cardio to lose the calories, right? Cardio only burns calories whilst it's being done. I say, so you don't actually need to do cardio if you want to get in shape. Like, we don't do cardio. My clients and I don't do cardio. If they want to do cardio, I let them do it, of course, because some people love it. But me personally, I don't really like cardio, and you don't need to do cardio to actually lean down. It's about calories, right? And one of the best ways to lower your calories is by doing what we call skipping breakfast, right? So if you don't want to be weighing your food every day, right, like measuring out, okay, I had 100 grams of beef today and 100 grams of chicken. If you don't want to do that, because let's face it, when you're traveling all the time, that's kind of hard to do that, right? Another thing is you need to learn how to eat intuitively. So when you're on vacation, when you're traveling, you can still eat and still reach your fitness goals. So it's not so much about being regimented. Of course, you need to know your food, and we do have our clients like learn their food when they first start. But after you've done that, you can literally look at, steak and be like, all right, that's like 400 calories. Cool. That's like 30 grams of protein. You know the ballpark figures of your food. And then from there, you can actually order well when you go to a restaurant. You don't have to be like, oh, because I haven't got my weight scale, I can't eat properly now. Those kind of things. So another myth is that you have to do the meal planning thing. You have to eat 5 to 6 meals a day. That's another myth. You don't have to eat 5 to 6 meals a day. And a lot of people think that you can only digest 30 grams of protein per meal. That's another myth, right? If I eat 100 grams of protein right now, my body is going to use the protein and it's going to burn it over the next few hours. The meaning that I'm going to be fuller for longer, right? So that's why my clients and I, we only eat 2 to 3 meals a day, right? Mostly 2 big meals a day, because energy consumption, right? When you eat lots of protein now, you're going to be fuller for longer, which means that you don't have to stuff your face, because it goes back. There's lots of science behind this, but when you eat a lot of carbs, for example, simple carbs like white rice, white pasta, starchy bread, stuff like that, your insulin spikes and then it goes down. So essentially what that means is you're going to be full for like an hour, but then after that you're going to be hungry again, right? Whereas if you eat a lot of protein, you consume a lot of protein in your diet, you're going to be fuller for longer, so you're going to stave off the cravings, right? Because you're going to be full because you had a lot of protein. So that's it.
Wow, that's a lot of golden nuggets. I'm learning stuff as well here, so we're all in the same boat. Okay, so right now you're doing alpha trading. What's kind of the, where would you like to take it? What's the kind of the vision for the brand? I know you're working with a lot of clients. Basically, he is the fitness expert for millionaire entrepreneurs.
Yep.
What's the kind of the vision? Where would you like to take the brand going forward?
Yeah, so the grand vision is my two passions, right? So it's, for example, when I'm in Thailand, wherever I'm at in the world, and I meet people who are traveling, they're tourists, they always tell me, I'd love to live here, right? But they never do, because people hold themselves back. We hold ourselves back in life, right? So we cite all these reasons why we can't do something. So, for example, here in Thailand, I meet people, they're like, oh, I'd love to live here, because I tell them I live here, right? Or Bali, for example. And then they say, oh, I'd love to live here, but I can't. And then they just cite all the bullshit reasons why they can't do it, especially in fitness. So one of my passions is helping people transition their careers online, right? To make money online. I always tell everyone I meet who doesn't work online to work online. Like literally everyone. I just brainwash everyone, positively brainwash them. Sure. And then another passion is fitness, right? Helping people get in shape. So the idea for Alpha Trading is to build the business to where we're helping the personal trainer who's in the personal training business, in a physical business, right, at a location, wherever they are, America, doesn't matter where they are. But they're really good at what they do, but they're really time poor, okay? And also cash poor too, because they're not making much money. So how it's figuring out a way where we can get them online, where we're helping them make more money, training our clients that we bring in. So we're taking the trainer who's working, in Chicago, who's sick and tired of training his clients one-on-one for low pay, and he has no time freedom. He can't travel. He wants to travel the world. He wants to make more money. We're helping him come online, train our clients, and then get them results, right? And we're going to bring in the clients. So we're bringing in the people that want to get in shape, whatever it is, wherever their goals are, right? They want to melt their body fat. Women, they want to get a bigger booty, want to get flat stomach, hourglass physique, get rid of the cellulite. Guys want to get bulging biceps, big chest, whatever the goals are, right? We're going to help them do that by bringing on coaches from all these locations, helping them make more money, and we're going to bring the clients. And so it's basically like a match of coaches who are getting what they want, which is what we said earlier. Help other people get what they want, you get what you want. So we're helping the coaches get what they want, which is time freedom and more money. And we're helping the clients get what they want, which is all the goals, the body of their dreams, right? So it's a perfect match, and that is Alpha Trading.
Wow. Okay. I can see how everything ties with not only your principles, your philosophy, but also how you want to help, mankind in general.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So if you're a personal trainer and you kind of strapped for cash or you need for more leads, then you need to come and speak to you.
Yeah. Because, it's doing what I've done with Alpha Trading is hard, right? It's you got to learn marketing, you got to learn sales. It's fucking hard. If you're just, working for someone, for example, Fitness First or whatever, right? You're working for someone as a personal trainer. It's really hard to transition into your own business. You got to learn all these different skill sets. It's fucking hard. It's not impossible, but it's hard. In my experience with dealing with people don't want to do the hard thing, because why would you? It's uncomfortable, and most people don't want to go seek uncomfort. That's why there's only a few entrepreneurs, and that's cool. That's fine. So we're giving people a way to just transition what they're doing, just literally plug into our platform and then have access to all these clients that need their help. But they have to go through an application process, because they need to be Alpha Trading approved coaches. They can't just be any coach, who's out of shape, who's trying to train someone. You need to actually know what you're doing, and you need to understand the principles that we have, our philosophy, and you need to obviously buy into that philosophy, which is very, very easy to do. But again, we need an application process for that.
Of course, you need some, vetting process per se.
Exactly.
Okay, understood. Okay, so Couple more questions. If, say, for example, there's this maybe 21-year-old kid right now watching this interview, seeing, wow, I want to be like Aaron right now, but I don't know where to start. I'm not sure what my passions are. What would be your advice to that kid?
I like this question because I always say the same thing. So first of all, you need to start studying personal development. That's step one, right? List Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Les Brown. Like, just those 4 guys alone, that's enough, right? You need to start, go on YouTube, like, listen to all that shit. Like, let's listen to all those guys. It's good shit. And step number 2 is you need to start getting your feet wet. Like, plan out, write down what you like to do in life. Like, what do you like to do when you're not working, when you're not doing anything? How do you like to spend your time? Like, write down those things. Like, for example, I like to play football. All right, write that down. Write down what hobbies do you like to play, right? Like, you like to do BJJ, right? Yes. So, all right, BJJ, okay? Write all this stuff down and then think about it. Look at it and be like, all right, so what thing do I like to do the most? If money was no object, what thing would I like to do the most? And then, from there, you need to start learning sales and marketing. Like, that's an absolute must. If someone's 20 years old and they want to be an entrepreneur, they absolutely need to learn sales and marketing. You cannot... Those are the 2 biggest skills in the world, like sales and marketing. If you learn sales and marketing, you can do anything you want in life. And so I heard that 8 years ago. So I'm telling the 20-year-old me that, because that is super important. So get the books, get Influence by Robert Cialdini, get Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, get The Richest Man in Babylon, The Ultimate Sales Machine, get Expert Secrets. Like, all these books, you need to get them, .com Secrets. And you need to learn sales and marketing, because that is your ticket. That is your ticket. Everything by Grant Cardone, Sell or Be Sold, 10X Rule, Be Obsessed or Be Average. Like, you need to get these books and start filling your mind with the sales and marketing, because that's super, super important. And that's what's going to help you make whatever it is you like doing into a business. So, for example, if you like BJJ, you can teach people, you can come out of a course on, the 25 best exercises that will turn you into a black belt ninja at BJJ. For example, I don't know, something like that, right? Yeah. Or like how to master the arm bar in like 2 simple steps or whatever. I don't know. Marketing and sales is going to fuel your passions.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you have it. A lot of secrets here, a lot of value bombs as well. Where do you see yourself? I know we already talked about the alpha shredding, but in terms of your lifestyle in the next maybe 10 years, where do you see yourself doing, spending time with what type of people, etc., etc.?
Yeah, so I'll be with more influential people in terms of where I'm at now, like operating and vibrating at higher frequency, right? So you always want to be improving. You never want to be standing still. And that's one of the things that happens when you're comfortable, is you kind of settle and you're like, oh, life is good. But really, life's not good unless you're growing. Life gets better as you grow. And if life's not getting better for you, that means you're not growing. So you need to keep growing. And that's it took me fucking 29 years to come to that realization, right? It's like, I didn't know why my life sucked. But then now I realize, looking back, it sucked because I wasn't growing. That's why. Progress equals happiness. That's what I learned from Tony Robbins. If you're not making progress, you're not going to be happy. So in every area of your life, you want to be making progress. And also think about, I'll answer your question in a sec. I'm just coming around. Sure. Tony Robbins also said this. He said, no matter how much your life sucks, there's always one area of your life that's doing great. So if your relationships and, your family life suck, maybe your business is doing great. But, or if your relationships and your business sucks, maybe your health is doing great. So there's always one area of your life that you're doing pretty good at, even if all the other areas of your life suck. It's about improving at those areas. So just focus on improving, right? Constantly improving. Mm-hmm. So for me in 10 years, where I'm going to be is, I want to be more influential than I am right now, because it's not because I want to get famous. It's because I want to influence people and help people, right? And to do that, a byproduct of that is being famous, right? It's like you have to have that platform to reach more people, right? So there's so many people that need help, and what I've realized in helping people is there's so many people that need to step up to help people. So there's not enough people helping people. That's why I'm here with you, because this is going to help more people. You're going to help more people. I really like your brand, Man with Purpose. It's an awesome name. I'm kind of pissed I didn't get that. So, it's great to be with leaders, leaders attract leaders, and the best leaders inspire more leaders, right? So one of my mentors, my mentor in Thailand, he said, the only thing we can do is shine our light the best we can on ourselves, and other people will choose to follow that light and change themselves. Like we said earlier, we can't change anyone. We can just show them the way, but we can't actually change them. But what we can do is we can literally shine the light on ourselves, right? And people will see that, and some people will be like, oh, cool, yeah, I should do that too. And that's it. That's all we're getting them to do is change their beliefs. More of the same for me, really. 10 years from now, it's just more of the same. More people inspired, more people helped. It's not just getting them in better shape, it's changing their whole fucking life and making them realize that life is about improving, right? Most people, their best days are behind them. They talk about, oh, yeah, like in Thailand, they're like with their beers, like the guys in the bar, right? Back in my day, I had no worries. It was so good. Yeah, no bills, no kids. Oh, it was great. Wow. It's like that guy is not growing. That's why he's reminiscing 20 years back in the past about his good days. It's like, I never want to be that guy. I never want to be that guy. So it's a good example of what not to do, right? Sure. So, constant improvement, like the Japanese phrase, kaizen, right? Yeah, yes. Constant improvement. That's it.
Okay, guys, it seems like you missed all the secrets that he was actually spitting out. Sorry, the camera actually ran out of battery. So we're going to continue this interview the guerrilla way. Now, we're talking about Kaizen and constant improvement. I'm a big believer in if you're not contributing and growing, you're dying, basically. So that kind of ties in nicely with what you're saying about continuous improvement and where you're going to be in the next 10 years or so, just growing the brand, doing your thing. What's maybe a secret right now that maybe you can share that's helped you become the Aaron Darko, the man with purpose that you are today? What's something that maybe you don't necessarily share too often, or maybe you give to coaching clients, or maybe it could be a habit, just like a secret that the audience could potentially benefit from?
I guess, interesting. Let me think about it. Secret that's helped me. It's just not settling for average, right? It's not wanting to be like everyone else, because the longer you live, the more you see people that are just settling for average, and especially when you have people that you look up to, you can see the massive difference, right? The massive gap between the guy that's settling and the guy that's achieving all the things that you want to also achieve. And so it's really just, like I said before, getting around the people that are actually succeeding and accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish, and having that guide you, is having that inspire you to do better. And the more that you actually pursue that and start leveling up and improving yourself and doing things that most of your friends back home wouldn't do, and you get the feedback from what you're doing, like keep it up, this is great. It keeps you going. And also having the big goals helps, but also just focusing on constantly trying to be better every year. Be a better person this year than you were last year. Yeah.
Wow, inspiring. Okay, and last question that I ask or try to ask all of my guests here is, how do you want to be remembered? I'm putting him on the spot a little bit here because I didn't tell him this question, but yeah.
I guess just I mean, it's funny because I was talking with my mentor the other day, and he said, I'm not here to save the world. I'm also not here to save the world, right? But it's kind of like Tupac said, Tupac Shakur. Maybe everyone knows Tupac, right?
Absolutely.
If you don't know Tupac, I don't know where you live, bro. But Tupac said, the more I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody's going to clean it up, right? It's not going to be me, but the more I keep talking about how dirty it is, someone's going to clean it up. So it's kind of like that for me. Right? The more I keep shining light on the problems and helping people get in better shape, someone's going to take it to another level, right? I'm going to do the best that I can, and that's all I can do is the best that I can. And so in terms of someone remembering me, I want them to remember, he always went for his dreams, right? He didn't settle. and he always wanted to inspire and improve and help people the best he could with what he had available to him. So for example, the way I help people is, you know, from inspiring them to just live better and get in better shape and have more confidence and go for their dreams. Like really just encourage people to go for their dreams, because there's really nothing else, right? That's all we have is dreams, right? Like we have dreams and we want to accomplish them, and that's it. So it's about going for your dreams and not settling, not listening to the naysayers, the people that are they're trying to look out for you, right? Like our friends and family. They don't want to see us get hurt, but eventually, like, you need to just go for it, because when you're 80 years old and you look back at your life, if you let those thoughts from your friends and family get into your head and stop you from doing it, you're going to regret that. And regret weighs ounces, regret weighs tons, discipline weighs ounces.
Wow.
Jim Rohn. So you have the discipline right now, you won't have the regret later. So it's just about doing the thing that's hard. Like if you do what's hard, your life will be easy. If you do what's easy, your life will be hard. From T. Harv Eker. So I studied all these people, right? You can see I've studied all these people. So, you know, it's like just focusing on what you can do and doing your best at that. And whatever that is, some people don't want to save the world. It's fine. You don't need to save the world. You just need to do the best that you can do at what it is that you're doing. That's it.
I think the world would be a much better place if you give it everything you have.
Yeah.
Aaron Darko, you're a real man with purpose, my man.
Thanks, man.
Where can people find more about you online?
Yeah, so just go to Instagram at @TheRealDarko, or you can go to our website, alphashredding.com.
Perfect. Great. Guys, this is it. Another interview with another man with purpose. Something that I'm going to be excited to actually see the final footage at. Hope to see you guys in the next video, and peace out.